I'm sorry that I can't be with you in person, but I am pleased to have this chance to talk via video link with the Raisina dialogue in Japan. This is a world with a more fraught outlook than for many, many years, many decades in fact. In many places, we now have dictators on the march. There's the Russian militarist dictator trying to crush the independence of Ukraine. There's the Islamist dictators in Tehran through their proxies attempting to destroy the state of Israel and to attack Allied shipping in the Red Sea. And of course, we have the communist dictators in Beijing eager to grab Taiwan as quickly as they can. We have to take the Beijing leadership seriously when it says that its immediate priority is to take Taiwan by force if necessary, and its overriding priority is to become the world's top power or global hegemon by mid-century. Obviously, a world dominated by China would be very, very different from a world which has been under the sway of the Pax Americana, the rules-based global order that has largely dominated since the 1940s. It would be different, it would be worse, it would be much less safe, much less rich, and certainly much less free. In order to ensure that we do not face the catastrophe of major global conflict, it's important that the deterrents hold. And that means that the democracies, acting individually and collectively, need to increase their strength, their military strength and their economic strength. I'm encouraged that Japan is now increasing the size of its self-defense forces. I'm encouraged that Japan has publicly indicated that any attack on Taiwan would be effectively an attack on Japan itself. I'm also encouraged that India is also boosting its military strength, particularly its navy. And obviously the Quad, while it's not directed against anyone, it is necessarily opposed to any country that wants to change the status quo, crush the freedom and independence of small countries by force. I think the Quad is the most significant geopolitical development in many decades. Yes, it's not as formally structured as NATO. It doesn't have a formal treaty behind it. It's an informal partnership, an informal network, but these can be very powerful for good, as the history of the Five Eyes intelligence sharing network indicates. So I do hope that Japan and India will continue to increase their military capability. I hope the same will be true of the other Quad partners, the United States and Australia. I also think it's important that all of the Quad partners do what we can individually and collectively to ensure that smaller, more vulnerable countries aren't effectively bribed by Beijing to change their general geopolitical outlook. I know there are things that Beijing does that democratic states under the rule of law can't, but we certainly can do more to improve the infrastructure and the living standards of the poorer and the more vulnerable countries in our region. On that score, yes, it is important that we do what we can to ensure that the only planet we have is handed on in the best possible order to our children and grandchildren. But I'd be very cautious about any green transition that makes our energy supply much more expensive and somewhat less reliable than it has been in the past. Sure, all things being equal, we want to use fewer fossil fuels in the future. But still, affordable, reliable electricity is at the heart of modern life, and it's certainly at the centre of a strong and prosperous economy. On that score, I think it's good that Japan is starting to reuse nuclear power, as well as make the most of Australia as a source of resource security with gas and coal. It's good that likewise India is expanding nuclear power, as well as making the best possible use of Australia as a source of energy security. In conclusion, let me just say how much I welcome this Japan Raisina. I'm a huge supporter of the Raisina dialogue. I'm delighted that it's now operating in Japan as it has previously operated in Australia. I think this is an important part of strengthening the bonds of shared values and common interests that are keeping the Quad countries strong and free.